Detroit Lions, San Francisco 49ers revenge game.
Yeah.
And I do believe that this is one of the ones where J-Mo is going to get the big play opportunities. When I look at some of these outdoor games, I look at the fact that if you get those chunk plays, 1 or 2 changes the complexity of everything, especially if you want to play a little bit more conservatively in any aspect of the outdoor elements. And so I am looking forward to it. But both of these teams are pretty depleted.
Yeah.
And I believe that the health of the organization is what is showing more and more. The injuries have not slowed the Detroit Lions' progress at all. And I believe, due to how this team has been built. You look at the 49ers, and they have had some major injuries, and they have completely their season is cratered.
Yeah, their season is completely cratered to where who would have thought before the season that this game, with still a week left to go in the season after this, would be 100% meaningless when it came to the 49ers playoff hopes because they'd already be out of it. I wouldn't have thought that. Even with the injuries that they've sustained, I thought that they would be able to handle it better. But we obviously know that the Lions injury situation has been bad for a while now. And recently it's gotten even worse with the addition of David Montgomery, Carlton Davis, and Aleem McNeil to the IR or to the injured list of missing multiple games. But the San Francisco 49ers, it has not been a picnic for them either. And JB, I have something in Slack that highlights just how the 49ers have been depleted as well. So what I have is a list of players who have been injured this season, and I have them categorized for one section who are not playing against the Lions and one section who are playing against the Lions. And in parentheses, I have the number of games that they have played this season. John Feliciano, their starting guard last year, has played 0 games. Dre Greenlaw, who got injured running onto the field in the Super Bowl, which is so fucked up. Sorry for cursing, Feldman, but if you can't curse about that, then I don't know what you can curse about. Has only played 2. Javon Hargrave 3, Christian McCaffrey 4, Brandon Ayuk 7, Kevin Givens 8, Trent Williams 10, and Charvarius Ward 11. Those are major pieces that have missed multiple games, but you have even more. But these guys are actually playing against the Lions. You've got Talanoa Hufanga, who's only played 5 games, Nick Bosa, who's played 12, and Yetur Gross-Matos, who's played 9, who are playing against the Lions. So my point in bringing all of this up is, in a different way, the 49ers, you could argue, have been just as decimated due to injuries as the Lions. Maybe not necessarily in quantity, but in quality. I mean, you're talking Christian McCaffrey and Brandon Ayuk and Trent Williams and Nick Bosa missing multiple games. These are some of the best players in the National Football League. But
Greenlaw is a huge one, man.
Greenlaw is another one. I didn't even mention him. But the Lions aren't going to feel sorry for anybody when it comes to injuries. We've played the majority of the season without Aiden freaking Hutchinson. We've played half the season without Alex Anzalone. We're going to be playing
early.
Davenport, basically the whole season without Davenport. We're going to be playing the stretch run and into the playoffs without Aleem McNeil for the whole season for sure. David Montgomery and Carlton Davis. So we're not feeling sorry for anybody.
We're still wondering if Anzalone is going to come back. We're still wondering if Khalif Raymond's going to get back.
Yes. Absolutely.
Win.
It's been just a bad injury situation for both the Lions and the 49ers. However, you look at one team, and they're fighting for the 1 seed in the NFC North, the Detroit Lions at 13-2, and then you're looking at the San Francisco 49ers, who, despite still having a lot of very talented players who have played the majority of the season, are 6-9 and completely out of the playoffs. And I don't even think this is an anti-49ers segment. I think it just goes to show how hard it is to overcome so many injuries. And it makes what the Lions have done so much more special than I think we even realize. They're 13-2 despite all of the injuries, with a great chance to go 15-2 and get the 1 seed. It's
insane.
One of the greatest regular season stories we've ever seen in the NFL.
Yeah, it's a combination of the coaching and the players. Yeah. They've built for this. That's the thing that I love, is that Brad Holmes, when he talks about it prior to us being able to see this stuff that we just get hyped up about. But now, towards the end of the season, it's stuff that we know, we can depend on it. this squad has continued to go out there and not just kind of trudge through, but they've gone out there in some games and absolutely dominated. That's what made me chuckle is when we go back and we think about how the media started to, and certain other people, and Chris Christie and everybody, no class, they're running up the score on teams, they're doing trick plays, why waste a stumble bomb on the Bears, blah, blah, blah. Are you guys understanding that the Detroit Lions are down like 23-plus players? How many starters, like enough to honestly field a defense that would probably beat the Bears? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. It would, not probably. It would. Think about the players out right now. That defense now would line up and be one of the best defenses. The players out would be one of the best defenses or defensive units in the league. Hutch and Davenport in the lean. Alex Anzalone.
Yeah.
Derek Barnes.
Forgot about.
That's what I'm saying.
You forget about players because there's been so
huge.
many.
And they still continue to just go out there and do their thing. And that's why going into the Bay, a place that you could probably look at as a temporary house of horrors, I don't even care. This is week 17. Go out there and just punch them in the nose and come right back to Detroit and get ready to honestly baptize the Vikings. Hey. That's just where I'm at with this. And I know we're going to talk about, get into the different parts of the game, the offense, the defense, and whatnot, but just the mindset. It is what it's been all season. Go out there and just handle business.
Go out there and handle business. And Jordan Lionheart, you are right. I actually thought I put an update to this in Slack, but I guess I did not. Charvarius Ward is not playing. He was ruled out this morning. But honestly, I hate to be this person because he dealt with a very, very tragic situation in his family earlier this year. Not having Charvarius Ward is addition by subtraction for the 49ers. He went from being a great corner last year to pretty much unplayably bad this year. And you can cut him some slack for what he's gone through, but the point is that what good does Charvarius Ward do for the 49ers right now? Absolutely, absolutely nothing. But what's funny too, and this is another thing that really highlights just how hard it is to overcome these injuries, because I can point to many situations with the 49ers, including Christian McCaffrey, where they've had people step up. Remember at the beginning of the year when Jordan Mason, it looked like the running game didn't really miss a beat. Isaac Guerrero, he's another one. Both of them over 5 yards a carry. You look at Brandon Ayuk being out. Jawan Jennings, more on him later. He stepped up and had the best season of his career. Even with Nick Bosa being out some games, he doesn't even lead the 49ers in sacks. Leonard Floyd does. So the 49ers have had guys step up. They've had guys, rookie Dominique Puny in the absence of John Feliciano is the 4th ranked PFF guard in the whole bleeping National Football League. Say what you want about PFF, but number 4 in the whole NFL, it tells me that he's played well, but yet it doesn't mean anything because they are still a 6-9 football team. And if you would have told me with the exact same injury situation that the 49ers have undertaken, with the people who have stepped up, I would have at least thought that they'd be a wild card team or fighting for the division at the end. But they're not. They're out. They're done. This game is meaningless for them. But it certainly isn't for the Detroit Lions, even though in the standings you can argue it is. But Dan Campbell doesn't think like that. Go and win.
And this is where people cannot trash. They can no longer, downplay or dismiss when we talk about grit, when we talk about there's an identity here with the Lions, when we talk about there's something a little bit more. There's this Lions magic going on. This Detroit Lions team is showing they've transcended. Where we see the Chiefs get decimated, when we saw the old Packers teams get injured all over the place, but they still were on track to achieve, season-ending goals as it relates to Super Bowl. We see this Detroit Lions team continue to do that. And Dante151999 Super Chat, he says, you want to know what's funny? If the Green Bay Packers lose to the Bears in Week 18, the Packers would have the same amount of wins as the Bears versus NFC North with a 1-5 record. You just hate to see it. Thank you for the Super Chat.
That's true.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't know if the I think the Packers, they'll be playing for wild card seeding with the Commanders, so I think they're going to play their starters, and I think they're ultimately going to beat the Bears. But still, what if they don't? A 1-5 record. I mean, the fact that it's 1-4 right now is just. I mean, it speaks to the fact that the Packers are they're a good team, they're a playoff team, but they're not really what you would call a threat to win the Super Bowl. But it also just shows you the NFC North is just a monster this year.
Hey, Stick, check this out, man. Tell me the Packers, they weren't in a better run during the Malik Willis era.
Jesus.
They're in the same spot, right?
Oh, man, they shouldn't have paid Love. They should have just went with Malik Willis as their starter.
They could have maybe gotten some wide receivers then.
Maybe.
I mean, because if you watched that game last night, that you could tell that's where they were lacking the most. That nothing. With Christian Watson out, nobody to push the ball down. They have nothing in Green Bay on the wide receiver position.
Jaden Reed's pretty good.
Okay, he's a nice slot receiver. Which team is built around a slot receiver like that?
Well, I will say this. Jaden Reed, he's been good this year, but the way that he started, the way that there's the hype around him, I thought that he'd put up a little bit better numbers. Not saying that he's not good. It's just that
somebody's got to put up numbers, right? I mean, they're not going to put up 0 offensive yards, even though they only put up 56 passing yards through 3 quarters last night, which was super impressive for a guy that was some called better than Jared Goff.
Oh, man. I remember that. JJ.
Easy.
JJ $5 super chat.
People don't forget.
I could care less about this game versus the 49ers, I assume. He says, next Sunday is what it all matters. Cut the starters after the first half and get ready for Sunday night. How do you feel about that?
I mean, obviously I brought up the scenario with a potential tie. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm not saying that it will, but you've seen plenty of games. I mean, let's just look at a game this Saturday, the Broncos and the Cincinnati Bengals, that was looking for a minute after the Bengals kicker missed like a 30-yard field goal that would have won the game, that might turn out in a tie until, of course, Joe Burrow did what Joe Burrow does and put on his Superman cape. So you never can be too careful. You want to prepare for every single scenario. I understand, given the fact that the Lions have had so many injuries, that you want to play it safe, and the game that is the important one is Week 18. But as I said before, I'm not preparing the show like that. I'm not talking as if they're going to do that because I know Dan Campbell. I know how he coaches. I know he's not going to do that, and I know that the Lions have that revenge factor in mind.
Hey, you know what? I know we got to get into the next segment so we can continue to break this down, especially, the 49ers offense. So we're going to talk about the Lions offense. But next, we got to talk about how how disappointing a year it's been for those 49ers, man. And the Lions game plan for the only 2 players who potentially could cause some issues for them. But I have to read this comment really quickly from Cody Ingle. Who the hell we going to play if we rest the starters? We down to the 3rd stringers. I was just like, you know what?
Yeah, Ray, I'm thinking about in the safety room. Didn't Brandon Joseph get arrested a couple weeks ago and get cut from the team?
Oh, snap.
We have a whole practice squad, guys.
That's fair.
They can go out and get some run.
I mean, I suppose.
You rest. Yeah. I don't know.
It's going to be interesting.
Dan Campbell ain't going to rest anybody. Maybe in the second half, but no, they're going to go put some foot to throat.
And by second half, I think like 4th quarter if the game is decided.
Yeah, Hendon Hooker, or maybe our new guy, Teddy Bridgewater, our new old guy, is going to get some run. Huh. But yeah, to me, interesting. To me, I'd treat this as a bye week, but that's just me. I don't always agree with everything Dan Campbell does, but he's got us here, so I'm never going to question him either.
JB, what about you as well? Because that was some of the questions I saw.
What about you?
People thought, hey, and some people think that, like, just like Stick saying, treat this as a bye week. Just like the super chat said, let me just go back and highlight it again. JJ, I could care less about this game. Next Sunday is what matters. Flannel, though, is on the side of go out there and take every single game as if it's the last. And I get that to a degree.
I mean, it's BTA. Both ass. Like, come on. You can't sit here and just chill and just think, oh, this is a bye week. This is an easy game. No. Every game in the NFL is a hard game to play. So this is, I mean, the 49ers are going to be out there. They're going to give it their all, even though they're depleted with players. But still, at the same time, you just got to go out there and play. I know next week is a big game. It's the bigger game of all these games. But as of right now, the 49ers are the opponents in front of us. That's who you take on. So take care of business and then move on to the Vikings.
I mean,
No, I was just gonna say real quick. Can we get a poll up with asking the chat family where they're at with this game matter, or is it just on to the Vikings?
I don't want to make it seem like I'm play all your starters at all costs against the 49ers. I'm open to any single idea. I like the revenge factor. I know what Dan Campbell is going to do. And a Jordan Lionheart in the chat actually put something interesting, something that I actually am okay with. How do you guys feel about starting Mosley just to see how he looks? Would be nice to see what we have before next week and a playoff. That was a $5 super chat. Thank you, Jordan Lionheart. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
If he's out there, this is the type of game where you play Emmanuel
back
Mosley.
in a familiar place.
Hey, that's right.
That would be cool.
Because Emmanuel Mosley needs to just get on a field and play consistent football again without suffering a terrible injury.
And take Vildor out of a familiar place.
That's true. But
Vildor's got to get his get back, man.
This is that game for him?
Yeah, this is I'm going to get revenge for the ball off my helmet game.
Goodness.
To be fair, though,
you know what?
And I know Easy has been at the
Easy
forefront
in the
of
chat
this.
again?
No, he isn't.
Okay.
He isn't.
All right.
Easy's been at the forefront of this. Besides for the Colts game this year, Kendall Vildor hasn't been terrible. I'm not saying that he's been great, but
the fact that we're arguing about our sixth cornerback just shows everything you know about the talent of this football team. Like, if that's your biggest bitch, you're doing okay.
That is
like our
fair.
biggest complaint is Teddy Bridgewater's a backup. What does it do to Hendon Hooker? That is such spoiled fan mentality. It's ridiculous where we are living right now as Lions fans.
That is funny. That was a topic of
of
a discussion.
The backup court. Who cares? They're never going to play.
Does that mean Hendon Hooker's doing something wrong?
It doesn't matter. Who cares? Hopefully he's doing everything right. And even if he does, he's never seeing the field.
Never seeing the field.
Who
Absolutely.
cares?
But do you know who have seen the field for the 49ers and been relatively healthy this season and have underperformed? Well, I'll tell you when we get back because
what a team.
Because those are a couple of guys who you can really point the finger at when it comes to the lack of the 49ers' success this season and their inability to overcome injuries. But first, I have to tell you about 1800 Tequila, the sponsor of the watch party and the post-game show. We've had 1800 Tequila at some of the watch parties. I've taken a shot on air a couple of times, and even though it looks like I'm in pain, I'm happy. I'm happy drinking that tequila, and there's many other tequilas that make me react much worse. And it does go well with Soroki's, to answer the hypothetical question that JB asks when he does the read. So 1800 Tequila, the best tasted tequila. Drink responsibly.
Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer, is kicking off the game with the best prices on all cars, trucks, and SUVs, like this 2024 Silverado for just $296 a month, or this 2025 Equinox for as low as $371 a month. Our locations in Novi, Highland, New Hudson, Livonia, and Lansing means we have the perfect Chevy right in your backyard. Get the home team advantage every day at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
No one gives away more cash and prizes than Woodward Sports. You don't believe us? Here's our latest $10,000 winner.
You guys posted, hey, if you guess all this stuff right, we'll give it's $10,000. I'm like, okay, well, why the hell not?
And the winning doesn't stop there. How about our Outkick Your Coverage winner?
Let's give it up for David Tully, everybody. David Tully. This guy's got a hot girl.
Bigger prizes, bigger giveaways, cash, merch, tickets, and more. All from the biggest sports network in Detroit. No one does it bigger and better than Woodward Sports. Make sure you're following, liking, subscribing on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube for your chances to share in the winning. From Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month. How do people feel about it?
The Super Bowl parade in Detroit will be one for the record books. Detroit just does it different. Woodward Sports, your official Super Bowl or Bust Lions network.
You guys better be at the best place to watch the Lions game. Look, especially if they're on the road. Hayes Social for the New Holland Brewing Company watch party and post-game show.